Aloha and thank you for joining me for Java. It is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. It is summer solstice, and I hope that those of you that had holiday yesterday enjoyed that least from the markets. That being said, it's working days. Let's go right into it. My apologies for being slightly late. There was major Microsoft update. Talk more about them in a bit, but put me behind. So we've got our MMRI pulling back from risk factors lowering. Okay, we've got a couple of things going on with this. The 10-year yield, as well as the relative strength of the dollar, both pulling back. We had the Swiss National Bank cut and a couple of other things going on. So sentiment right now, we are green on the open. There's a lower volume in stocks. However, we've got major expiry tomorrow and really got to watch towards the close. So it's a witching day. And that means that a lot of options are expiring. So while there's low volume on stocks, there's very high volume with options. And those trades, just to remind you, they're leveraged. So they can really move that market quickly, particularly on low volume. So just urging caution at that time. Right now, it's looking great. Fear greed index is in the fear territory, but still kind of staying stable with that. So a lot of the greed is in that options sector at the moment. So right now, pretty much green. We do have volatility increasing. That is due to that low volume and then the options. So we've also got silver is on the rise, as we were speaking about. We've got crude holding at this level. So looking at the basically the amount of reserves on hold that the United States has could affect that price as well. We've got Nvidia has now become the world's most valuable company. They have eclipsed Microsoft, so green on that stock. We've got calendar and earnings coming up, watching jobless claims coming up in just a bit here. That could possibly move the markets because that's what the Fed is going to be looking at for data as far as whether they have two mandates: price stability and employment. So if employment is way off the marks, it could affect the rate. Right now, July is off the table, and they're looking at September in accordance with the basically statistics. So we've got Taiwan exports orders rising 7% above forecasts. A lot of this is TSMC. The manufacturing, as we were speaking about, they are in actual production and their labor cuts are down. So a lot of United States corporations going there for less expensive labor. As I said, we had Swiss central banks cut their interest rates for the second time this year. So that gave the markets a lot of green. We got the Bank of England. They're expecting to hold theirs for now, and they've got their elections going on right now. I expect things to be held and floated, if you will, until at least November for United States elections. So we've got some earnings coming out today. Not a lot of really major ones, but still the same. So with the economy, we've got stocks down 40%. If they drop this much, they're saying that they would pop the market bubble, but slow deflation more likely than a quick crash. I agree with this, but going to have a slow grind out because we've got the plunge protection team and then also a lot of basically switches that they can throw in order to halt the markets and keep them from trading in any sudden moves down. Not allowed to do that. So with that in place, I think it's going to be years of grind out. So behind this and along with this, we've got the top 10 US senators' fortune exceeding $900 million. Now, senators do not make this much money. What's going on is we no longer have capitalism. This is a corporatocracy. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's major movers for the stock markets, as it's lobbying groups and those putting money in their pockets. So if you're a corporation that's on their good side and you're making them money, then that is what is moving the markets lately. So with that, let's go into the economy. We're watching foreclosures on the increase again. Home equity is going away. So while homeowners right now have high net worth on paper, it's about to drop. So people not able to pay their mortgage payments. We've got foreclosures coming up again. They're going underwater. People cannot afford their homes, and it is basically evaporating. We got a second issue that is now beginning to arise, and it's second mortgages. And this is not even recently. These are from the first housing crisis back 2008. People got secondary loans, and now those secondary loans are going underwater, or what's worse, they're calling them the zombie mortgages. And this is because people were told that these mortgages back then had been forgiven. And they were not forgiven, but rather they were sold to another company, purchased them pennies on the dollar, and now they are pursuing again foreclosure remedies on these housing. So we'll keep an eye on what happens with that, because we are talking thousands of homes that would go into immediate foreclosure from these loans that they thought were forgiven. So we've got the US economy headed for corporate bankruptcy. Now, these are small to mid businesses, and they're going to fire their employees. When they do, when they go out of business, of course, spike in unemployment. So moving across, these basically the stock exchanges and what's going on are relative to one another. So if one weakens, we're in a currency war. We've got the Central Bank of Iran now looking toward central bank digital currency to speed their payments. Their exports are up. They're also producing. They're in with the BRICS side, doing direct trade with Russia and also China. So Ukraine is falling. However, I expect them to be propped up also for November. But they're building right now Zelensky to be a scapegoat for their inevitable defeat. This is in accordance with basically Russian intelligence. And that it looks to be the case. And that looks like that would be typical for what has happened in the past. So we've got Putin, Vladimir Putin, lauding de-dollarization. They're now doing direct trade with another Asian partner. Who is this referring to? It's Vietnam. Right now he's in North Korea on visits with weapons, and he is visiting Vietnam in a couple of days. So we've got Japan and South Korea now concerned because they've got direct weapon deals. Russia's arms manufacturers are expanding production as quickly as they can. And basically, they're concerned because now Russia and North Korea, if they're armed, it puts them in danger because it's their neighbors. So they're adjusting Cuba, doing deals with Cuba as well. I'm sure that we just have not heard about. So South Korea is getting upset about this, and their way to handle this is to say that they are going to consider arming Ukraine. So things just ramping up, both physical wars and currency wars. So with this, I'd like to say really the threat and danger is artificial intelligence and how it's moved forward. Now, I'm not against it. I think it should move in. And I've actually got really good news about this. What I was saying before, OpenAI and Sam Altman and Yuval Harari. These are evil, in my opinion, to use that word lightly, evil. OpenAI has moved to become a for-profit corporation. They were talking a good game at the beginning that they were only going to be a non-profit, work towards all these wonderful things. Then they fired the only person who had any type of moral compass, and that was Ilya Sutskever. So OpenAI developing a tool to give content creators control over their training and data and research. And that also is a load because they are scraping all of the data. You don't have any control. I understand this. Everything coming out here, and I'm pretty sure it's part of why I'm having troubles with these and with their updates. However, they're taking all of it, and all of this data they're now under fire for their cybersecurity lapses. Their only concern for the data is that they can build their AI first. Then they're going to tokenize everybody. This sounds far-fetched, but they're going to tokenize everybody and sell you on Coinbase. So you will be sold on Coinbase. What is our hope, though? Now we've got the one who basically was at odds, who was booted out, is Ilya Sutskever. And so he has now basically created and put out The counter to this, the company is called Safe Superintelligence. And while I'm not trusting of anyone in particular, I think this is going to come down to, and I spoke about this a little before, battle of the bots, as silly as it sounds. But we've got someone basically on the other side, and at least it keeps it from growing one end of power. So with that, we've got hope. I want to speak about one other thing. We've got internally some issues with the United States, and this is on the border. So they're stopping Mexico avocado shipments due to an inspector incident. Basically, there's threats. It's run by the cartel, as silly as it sounds for avocado, but it's any types of exports, a produce trade. And if we don't get the prices that the cartel is demanding, these are the problems that they're having. So what's going to be their solution is Department of Homeland Security is going to reinterpret, basically work our fees at the getting from the illegal immigration and use this to fund biometric border system. And this is their excuse, is the threats that are now coming out. So all of this coming together, bringing it back into biometric, adding in artificial intelligence, tokenizing people, selling it on Coinbase. I know this sounds far-fetched, but it's what's coming forward. So we've got another fighter in the corner, so to speak. That is positive, and I encourage everyone to kind of keep in track with what's going on with this. I will do this as much as I can. And I would like to remind everyone, if you would like to join a Discord, we'll try to have one about 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time after Greg's Live this afternoon if you would like to join us. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.